Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey!
This is the Two Nerds podcast. We might be running a little long in this one because we're talking about Survivor Series, obviously, and War Games.
We watched both, and we've got opinions on both, so we're going to talk about both. Right up front, I want to say something. In something unrelated to the thing we're talking about today, I blew my voice out completely. So if my voice gives out and I have to switch to a silly deep voice halfway through this podcast, that's just the reality that we're all living in. I'm sorry.
War Games is the only NXT supercard that I make a point to watch. I like NXT. I like the characters. I don't have a lot of time to catch up on weekly wrestling. It might be different now because they're on TV, but I don't really care for the way NXT's weekly program ends up feeling when you watch it frequently. Because it's so obvious they taped it all at once.
Yeah. Now that they're weekly and live, that might feel different.
Yeah, it might be a little bit different. So
and they're making a real effort to big up stuff and definitely not fight AEW. No, sirree, Bob. Nope, that's not what we're doing.
So I might take sit down and try to watch some NXT, unless they're doing the same thing Raw and SmackDown are, which means I could totally watch it in 3 weeks when it's fucking irrelevant.
Which, I mean, to be fair, given how TV deals work, that might be what they're doing.
Yeah, it might be. And that's fine, business-wise for them. I just won't watch it.
Yeah, that means I'm not going to. I haven't watched Raw and SmackDown in years at this point. So
I've seen a couple episodes.
I haven't. I've seen clips.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of clips.
So NXT joining that is not a big deal.
Yeah. As much as I do like NXT, I think what originally blew it out for me was the promotion to the main roster, the death sentence for most of those people.
Yeah, where, just as you started to give a shit about their storyline in NXT, they'd get demoted to the main roster where they are, at best, a shitty mid-carder no one cares about. And so, why would I ever invest in these? Now that they're their own brand, and they have their own stars, and they're trying to build their own thing, yeah, okay, that makes it more worthwhile to watch, because I can actually give a shit about Shayna Baszler, for instance, and not know that Shayna Baszler is super great and cool and dope in NXT, because she is those things, and then as soon as they move her up to the main roster, they're going to Asuka her, so I can't care. Now that might not be her fate, so I can care.
So a lot of things are changing about NXT. As of this pay-per-view, basically. A great build. I was excited to watch Survivor Series. And I don't care who you put in War Games. You could put Charles Montgomery Punk in War Games and I'd still watch it.
It is a cool idea WCW never really felt like they were able to deliver on. Whereas every War Games match I've watched in NXT has been fucking awesome.
So let's for the sake of not being here for 3 hours, let's try to go quickly through this.
Okay, yeah.
So we had the first War Games match was the women's match, which was Team Ripley versus Team Baszler. This was really interesting.
I'm going to bring up contrasts a lot, and I'm going to set this up now. This was a really cool match, and they had a really interesting twist, where they took out 2 members of Team Ripley. One turned on the other and beat her up and then left. So Team Ripley was at a very severe disadvantage all match, and yet they still managed to pick up the win. And they did it in a very interesting and cool way. I'm saying it like that, apropos of nothing. We'll come back to this later.
I was really excited by this one. It wasn't... I would have liked to see the women that were removed, which was, what was it, Dakota Kai
and Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox, that's what I thought. Dakota Kai doing a heel turn is, you have my interest.
All right, full disclosure, I don't fucking know who any of these people are before the beginning of this match, except for, being specific, Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler are the only people on this match who I had any idea who the fuck they were before this match.
I keep up with the wrestling.
I don't. I'm not even going to apologize for it.
Removed from like more people who keep up with wrestling harder, I feel like the wrestling guy in my friend circle because I know all these weird ass names.
Like, those are the only two people in this whole match I met. And by the end of this match, I was invested in all of the characters in this match, including the two people who weren't even in the match, really, and their story and their future. They did an excellent job of showcasing all the talent in this match and making everyone look cool as shit.
Yeah, I'm invested in the story, but I really just would have liked to see Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox wrestle in the match.
Same, because that was really cool.
Yeah.
I would have rather they had Dakota Kai turn mid-match, maybe.
Sure, but this was really good, and I'm not going to take away from that. This is just me as somebody who hasn't been watching. If you've been watching, I'm sure you've seen plenty of them wrestling. I just haven't seen them wrestle in a long time, so... yeah, Team Ripley came back from behind. It was really cool, unexpected. Didn't think it was going to go down that way. So it was good to feel. And that's a good point on NXT because they don't always do that.
No.
You sometimes expect the bad guys to win just because they got the superior advantage. It's just math. But they didn't do that here, so it's nice.
And more importantly, they didn't do that, but it didn't feel hacky.
No, yeah, they did some really clever shit. Our next match was a triple threat for the contendership for the NXT Championship and Survivor Series, which was Damian Priest.
A sentient 2004 EFED character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he wasn't that, I would hate him, but I love him because he's the most generically edgy guy who looks like, guys, if you EFEDed, and I know none of you did, but if you did, and you did it in the early to mid-2000s, you know who I'm talking about. But I love him because of it.
He's generic looking motherfucker. Great big tall dude. Big, tall, like swimmer body with bad tattoos and tassels on his outfit and long kind of wet looking hair. No, there's no reason I would like this guy at all.
It's I think they were like sort of braids, weren't they?
Yeah.
Too? Like that was really popular back then.
Yeah, it's not a reason I would like this character at all. Definitely not.
Yeah. He jives with
my
me,
fucking
man.
absolute jam.
No, of course he is. But he just reminds me of all those people, and that makes me happy. Even his moves and the names of his moves.
Sure, great. I love them.
If there was a backstage interview and he's like, I'm a parody of all the EFED characters I ran into in the mid-2000s, I'd be like, yes!
You're fucking perfect. You're a perfect baby, and I'll buy all your shirts now.
Anyway, the match also included Pete Dunne and Killian Dane, who we call Big Damo a lot because that's how I know him, and
I usually refer to him as literally largest possible Damo.
You can't get a bigger Damo.
Sorry, I mourn for the ghost that was good What Culture and What Culture Championship Wrestling.
They did a big podcast on that when the whole thing fell apart. A lot of good memories there. So if you guys haven't checked that out, head to Cultaholic, better content on your content, and check out that podcast. It's worth a listen if you were ever into WCPW. This was a really good match. I was excited the whole way through.
They managed to make me give a fuck about Pete Dunne. I did it on purpose. And and no one has yet managed to do that, including Pete. So
he's got a good look and he's got a good style.
I disagree with that first point pretty adamantly, actually. He looks ridiculous.
Just saying, he's got a really nice haircut, that's all. And
he's just at no individual part of that man's look is bad. But he looks, if Damian Priest is a parody of the 2004 creator of the 2004 EFED character, Pete Dunne is a parody of the like 7th graders trying to make a badass version of them create a wrestler.
Okay.
No single part of his look is bad. Just none of it fits together at all. It looks like he looks like he fell into a wrestling costume bin and then rolled out and just went with it.
I'm really trying to find a way to disagree with that because I overall like his look, but
I think that's why you like his look.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway,
but yeah, I really like. He did a really good job, and by the end of it, as is the theme for War Games, I was really psyched that he won. like, ultimately my heart wanted Killian Dane to win.
Definitely. And I'm glad he looked good. I am glad that Killian put on a great match, and they made him look awesome, and that Pete Dunne won by like a split second kind of thing.
Yeah, I really like that. I like Pete Dunne overall, roasting his outfit aside. I really do.
Your sleeper match of the night was Finn Balor and Matt Riddle, which is wild. And I said that while we were watching it, that this was your reset match.
Yeah, they put Finn Balor in the reset match against...
And Matt Riddle, for that matter. I mean, I know you're not a huge fan of his or anything.
By the end, again, this is another... this was the whole theme of the night of War Games for me, was motherfuckers turning me around on them, or interesting me in them if I hadn't heard of them before. Because not only had I not heard of Matt Riddle before, because I don't keep up on wrestling, or fucking Twitter, but like when he came out, the first time I saw him, his outfit, it's not just like Pete Dunne's, which looks haphazard and silly. It kindled an instant hindbrain, like lizard-like distaste for this man. I did not like him, Sam. I am.
And you know what? I can't argue with that at all. Because when people make like a creator wrestler, like sometimes we get other people because we run our own little story thing because we're exactly that lame.
Oh yeah, I am. I make no apologies. I'm lame.
It's fun. Nobody gives a shit. It's 2019. If you have come to this website to bully me, please do so in the comments.
Yeah, bully me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so that you can come and bully us every week. We need the watch time.
Yes.
Hate watch us. I don't care.
We need to be financially viable, so...
Daddy Google spank if we're not.
But yeah, when one of the people were like, all right, this is my wrestler idea, George Lucas usually, this is my wrestler idea, it's a guy in pants. And I'm like, yeah, does he have boots? Oh, yeah, probably. Okay, what about, like, pads? No, pants is fine. It's the fucking twisted nerve in the back of my head. And I am like, no, their arms are so naked. And that's Matt Riddle. He's just in his little man boy pants. His little
no,
shorts.
Man boy pants is accurate.
Yeah, and that's it. So I get it.
I swear I don't just hate redheads. But,
I think he's blonde.
He's like a strawberry blonde.
Yeah, he's sort of a reddish to him.
But like, it's just, he looks like a fucking sentient horse, and he's acknowledged it and recognized it, and that's his sigil, and I respect that. But he looks like a fucking sentient horse who doesn't know where shoes are. And I hate everything about his outfit. I saw him and went, no, like out loud.
Yes, actually, I can confirm.
But by the end of it, he's really, really fucking talented, so I was over it. I mean, I still don't like the outfit, but I was over it.
I've been a fan of Matt Riddle for a little while now. A year or two. Time is meaningless.
I think a part of it is just like I get really like secondhand grossed out for all the people he's wrestling with who have to deal with his like bare ass feet.
Yeah, that's a call. But you know, Rikishi put his butt in people's faces.
Yeah, look,
and I liked him.
That's fair. I was 12 at the time.
Yeah.
So.
I do enjoy watching other wrestlers looking at him like, I don't wanna.
It's weird and gross.
Hey man, it's psychological shit, man. You know, fucking Bray Wyatt wrestles under red ass lights. Gets in your head, man.
Is that you're saying Matt Riddle's fucking red ass lights and creepy mask is look at my toes, I might touch you with my toes? Oh god, no, that works really well. I wouldn't want to wrestle him. Even if I thought I could win, and I couldn't, I'm fat and old, I would see him and go, no.
Speaking of back in the day, e-fetting again, I was in an MMA fed. They're very serious, and I was playing a French character called I've forgotten his Jean-Luc Ferrer, and he hated when other people would not wear fucking shoes of some kind, because so many people in MMA just tape up their feet and move along. He hates that. Don't get your fucking toes in my face. Like they had to have flaws and stuff, so that was one of his flaws, is that he's kind of. You know, he's got a squick about that. So yeah, no, entirely, I get that. Anyway, Finn Balor went over. Both of them looked great. It was a very nice slow build.
I was surprised Finn won.
Not me, because
it was such a very classically built face versus heel match that to have the heel go over at the end was surprising to me.
Well, like neither man needed this win.
No, that's the thing. So, since neither man needed it, and they were building a very classic face comeback story the whole time, to just have it then not happen is a little bit of a surprise.
I think that's NXT, though.
Yeah.
Like, they set expectations so they can later subvert them.
Benioff, Weiss, this is what that's supposed to look like.
There's some wigs being snatched up in here today, I'll tell you what. Finally, we had our main event for War Games. It's 15 minutes into the podcast, and we still have Survivor Series to cover. I'm sorry.
I'm not. This is just deal with it.
No, I mean, y'all come here to listen to our fucking voices. It's not like you're. You know.
I still don't understand why, but apparently it's pleasant for you. So.
That was.
Good.
The Undisputed Era versus Team Ciampa. I really. So we had a similar situation. We only knew 3 of the members of Team Ciampa going in. Undisputed Era had their full roster. I was really hoping it was a Johnny Gargano surprise. A, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
B, they kind of teased it throughout.
Yeah.
Really early.
They mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, by the time that the 4th entrant was supposed to come out, the announcers had convinced me it was definitely going to be Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah. So when Kevin Owens' music hit,
it was a surprise.
Yeah, but it worked well too because that was also part of storylines. Just really well integrated. And he was great in the match. Everyone was great in the match. Everyone. Bobby Fish maybe didn't contribute as much, but he was Bobby Fish out there touching butts and looking cool.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And this was just everyone did a really good job. This was a really goddamn solid wrestling match. And it had a man who was nearly dead in it.
I Googled, is Adam Cole alive? And it didn't give me an answer, and that was concerning.
Like, Tommaso Ciampa did an excellent job doing that move. If he had fucked up at all, Adam Cole would be dead. That's a hell of a thing to trust another guy with.
Yeah.
Just kudos to both men.
Yeah, it was just an amazing spot. Kudos to everyone in the match. This is the first I'd seen of Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic. I've been hearing about them.
By the end of this match, I was a full-on Keith Lee mark. We'll also get back to that.
He has that effect on people. Because I've never been into Ring of Honor really, and
me neither.
Or Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Do not too sweet me, bro.
Not out of any well, back in the day out of a distaste, but now it's just it's not really my bag. So I didn't know anything about Keith Lee. And now I want to know everything about Keith Lee.
Now I will bask in his glory.
Obviously, Team Ciampa win because they kill Adam Cole.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Really, really good, solid wrestling show.
Yeah.
4 matches, no waiting, and just solid work.
Yeah. I do have to mention also in the first match when fucking names Dakota Kai lost her shit. William Regal came out and attacked, and not attacked her, but tried to stop her, and she fought William Regal, and that's the worst idea ever.
She pushed William Regal, and William Regal got this look on his face, like he was 1 second away from dismantling this woman.
I don't know that he could have done it though. She was possessed. That was really cool. It was an hour and a half of entertainment, and it was good from front to back. The only thing you might get up and take a piss during is the beginning of Finn Balor, Matt Riddle, because it's a lot of Greco-Roman style wrestling, and it was a really slow build to reset.
Given that you said Matt Riddle is jiu-jitsu trained and was an MMA guy before this, and that explains the bare goddamn feet. It makes sense that his style would be really mat wrestling focused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, any match you're in with Riddle is mat wrestling focused.
Hey.
I've got a Patreon in the description if you want to pay me money for that joke. Let's move on to Survivor Series. We opened up with a match.
Hey, you guys want to have a callback to earlier in the show when I said that they did a thing in the women's war game match where they took and gave the face team an inherent disadvantage by taking out 2 of their members, before the match even really got started. And they did it in a really cool, interesting way, and the ending was not thereby made hacky because it was surprising. That's how you do that right. The women's Survivor Series match, involving many of the same talents, in fact, or at least too, did it wrong. Wrong. They did the bad version of that same shtick. It was Team NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown. There's lots of people on all these teams, so I'm not just going to read them all off. But specifically really early into the match, I believe it was Io Shirai and Toni Storm, someone I did know.
Yes.
From a different wrestling promotion.
We watched her on Progress, and I've seen her in the Mae Young Classic.
Got quote-unquote injured and taken to the back in a way that was definitely, obviously kayfabe, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have focused on it so much. And unfortunately, like, I didn't want those competitors to have been injured, but they put me in the really awkward position of immediately kind of wanting that to be a real thing, because if it was fake, it was really hacky and kind of gave the ending to the match away.
Well, I don't even know if that was necessarily the case. I think it was, as you said at the time, it slowed everything down.
Oh yeah, well that's a big part. Is this match didn't start off well?
No, it was your position, your suggestion, your idea was that there was no ring general and this match was not choreographed.
Yeah, this felt to me an uneducated, not a part of the industry, internet smart, as if it was a match that was being called on the fly without a ring general to actually call it though.
And that's like, maybe that's not what happened. I could think of a couple of other reasons, theoretically, but for all of these talented women to be putting on as mediocre of a show as they were doing.
And that's the thing. This ring is fucking smack dab full of incredibly talented, incredibly good wrestlers, and Lacey Evans. And
she's getting better.
Of course she is. She was only bad because she's green as goose shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure she'll be fucking excellent in like a year.
I still hate her sweat wiping gimmick, but that's just because it's working.
Yeah, you know what? I can't improve on that. That is exactly, you hate it because she wants you to hate it. So
and it's not going to that like extended point where
no,
I
it's
want
just
her off the TV.
it's really
I'm
good heel
like,
work.
Meh.
In a year, she'll be fucking astounding. But like it's a chock full of talent ring, and they just had a really fucking mediocre beginning of this match.
It was a snoozer
because there was no story. There was no through line to the match at all. It was just a bunch of unconnected. This was an indie match. This is what people like Randy Orton are bitching about when they bitch about indie wrestling. This was a bunch of unconnected, flippy bullshit spots with no story through them. And yes, all of the spots were impressive, apart from a couple blown ones, which is also indie wrestling. But
that's wrestling. I don't know what WWE you've been watching.
That's fair. But, it was generally impressive to watch visually, but there was nothing to draw me in. I was given no reason to give a fuck about any of these people.
Well, and ironically, because I wasn't watching Cultaholic this week specifically because I didn't want leads for Survivor Series. I found a lot of times I watch their predictions and I get more information than I want.
Right.
So this week I did an experiment and didn't do that, and I think it paid off well. I'll probably continue to do that, but
maybe watch them afterwards because I kind of
I
like to see if the boys are right.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm given to understand the storyline going into this was specifically the conflict, and honestly, I thought that was the best part of this match was the inner stable conflict.
Yeah, the conflict between the shows in general when they got back to basics and were doing that through line of Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT.
Well, I meant more so. I mean, that's the over storyline, but the actual meat was like these people don't get along and they're on the same team.
Like all the teams were individually not great,
except for NXT. NXT was fine, except that nobody seemed to give a shit about Toni Storm, I guess, in the build up. But the arguments between Charlotte and Asuka that boiled over. And
you're right. Those were good parts of the match.
Yeah, those were good parts of the match, and I thought they were strong. I thought they were interesting. And then once the match got toward the end, it felt pretty good, and then the end happened,
which was just Bambino pointing his bat level foreshadowed by the thing that honestly really did the most damage to the match, which was that spot where they took two of Team NXT out, because it just not only did it really give away the ending. In the event that this is kayfabe, they're definitely coming out at the end, and NXT is going to win. That's 100% what's going to happen. And because I don't ever want a wrestler to be actually injured, I was forced to root for that, which didn't make me feel great. And like that not only did it do that, but when it happened, it went on for so long that it just it took the energy and momentum they had built up with their unconnected spot fest and just took it out behind the woodshed and fucking shot it in the face. It was dead.
That's the big problem with Survivor Series matches, any huge multi-man match. I have to say the last time I watched a Royal Rumble, which I don't believe was the beginning of this year, but last year, they didn't do that. It was a Rumble where there wasn't a lot of, okay, everybody go to your corners and lay down and look quietly toward the center of the ring where the spots are happening. Like, it wasn't as obvious and as awkward as it's been in previous years. And this match wasn't quite that bad, but there was a lot of standing around doing nothing while a spot happened for no reason. Now, there was a lot of it that was strategic as well. You know, a member of a team hanging back and being like, okay, fine, y'all go fight each other. I don't give a shit.
I will say that between this match and the later men's Survivor Series match, which one do you think had more instances of some fucking moron breaking up a pin or submission attempt for no reason?
Both had enough. I think the men's match was less egregious, just because there were so like many of them in this one, and they did a spot twice, which blows my mind. I forget who did it the first time. I want to say it was God. There are so many people. Sarah Logan did the "I'll pin this girl." Okay, I'll pin this girl. Okay, I'll pin this girl, and then like.
And it went over like a wet fart because she's not the right person to be doing that spot.
Well, and it just wasn't like no one was paying attention. Other shit was going on. Like, yeah. It's so poorly organized. And then later,
Carmella did the same thing, and she did it really fucking well.
But either way, why?
Why 2 times?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those spots you can get away with doing multiple times in a big match.
Yeah, but like,
I think the only reason you noticed is because one went really poorly, and the other one went really well, and the contrast.
Well, and we also had that, like you said, that reset. I mean, that match did not build up much momentum before everything stopped for at least 30 seconds for referees to come down. Like, not just like, oh, it really slowed things down. No, everyone in the ring stopped matching.
Yeah, all the people, like, all of Team NXT left and were, like, trying to, you know, help out their injured members. And then the Raw and SmackDown teams stopped wrestling to mock Team NXT. You guys are also in the match. The match is still going on. Wrestle!
Yeah, why is no one savvy enough to keep going? Is it because you're trying to sell this as a real injury? This is just not well put together. But we've talked about it enough. Like we said, Team NXT wins.
That's the thing. We bitched about this, but this wasn't a bad match. It was just really disappointingly mediocre for all of the incredible talent in that ring.
Asuka walked away looking great because she literally walked away.
She got one. Charlotte Flair got uppity one too many times, so Asuka hit her with the green mist and then left.
I enjoyed the conflict individually between the teams, and Bianca Belair looked fucking amazing, and I like her a lot, so I was happy about it.
After this and War Games, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's great.
That braid is fucking real smart. That is an excellent piece of ring. That is a great ring prop to just be able to bring with you.
So then we go to a Champions Triple Threat match. I liked this card in general. Part of me was really excited for Survivor Series because there weren't a lot of title matches on it. It was a lot of champions fighting champions, and I find that really interesting.
For a brand versus brand place, that's the kind of match you want.
Exactly.
You don't need this and Clash of Champions, I think is ultimately my point.
I think that's why I changed it to Night of Champions because... Or did they? I don't fucking remember anymore. There's too many of champions. Next year it's going to be goddamn Evening of Champions. We're going to be like, ah! But, sorry, anyone listening, because I'm not going to fix that. We had AJ Styles, we had Shinsuke Nakamura, and we had Roderick Strong in a Champions Triple Threat match. And, of course, we had Sami Zayn.
Being astoundingly hilarious.
Just phenomenal. I've heard rumors that he's thinking about managing full time.
Good, do it.
Yeah.
Look, you're a really fucking good wrestler. You are. You're an excellent wrestler. But goddamn, if you can get over as a manager and I can see more of that kind of entertainment, please do so.
And Roderick Strong is only been getting better, and he started out pretty good.
And he's fucking... He's not Cesaro, but he is... Fucking the name is not inaccurate. He's strong as fuck.
Yeah. The number of deadlifts that man did on people over these 2 nights was just incredible.
And of course, Alan Jalen Stalin is good. And Shinsuke Nakamura was actually being Shinsuke.
Yeah.
He was actually being allowed to be cool, which was super great.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about this match. It went on a long time. And it was good. Roderick Strong beat AJ Styles. I think he pinned Shinsuke.
I don't quite remember.
I don't fully remember either. Yeah, AJ Styles hit Shinsuke with his...
Yeah. AJ Styles hit Shinsuke with the fucking phenomenal forearm. And then Roderick Strong dumped him out and immediately pinned Shinsuke. Yeah. Because Roderick Strong, unlike all of the people in the Survivor Series matches, knows how to actually act strategically in a wrestling match.
Yeah. It was good. I kind of thought Shinsuke was going to go over, but I figured AJ Styles was going to lose. Because he's been doing a good boy lap around the fucking
he's
auditorium.
taking a victory lap.
Yeah.
And good for him. He's earned it.
Yeah. So that led us into our prophesized title match of Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship.
Pete Dunne having won me over in the previous evening, and Adam Cole having won me over by just generally being really goddamn entertaining. I was really excited for this match.
It was a really good match.
It was a really good match. Adam Cole won, which I'm not mad about.
No, I think they need to... You don't want to bring NXT into the forefront and then dissolve their biggest stable.
Yeah, dissolve the thing. The guy got the big stable that has all the gold. We've needed a big, cool stable who isn't the Shield for a while now. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, the Shield didn't... Since their first run, they have never gotten back together well.
No, they're fucking cursed.
And even when they weren't all injured, the storylines never served them.
No, and they angered a witch in a previous life. Because it's just one thing or another would always go wrong. With anytime they tried to get the Shield back together, it was cursed. So, we've needed a good stable that's together and on the same page and good and, is dominant for a while. And Undisputed Era is a really good version of that.
Yeah, WWE seems to lean more toward... Well, I mean, we've got the New Day. But WWE seems to lean more toward, when you're doing a heel stable, a bunch of, wet paper that bullies people.
Basically, when you're doing a heel stable, they become a bully mass. It's just a big, undifferentiated mound of probably pale white flesh, just that is a Stephen King bully, and that is sort of schlorps around the roster and bees a Stephen King bully.
Excuse you, Randy Orton has a very deep tan.
That's fair. But, yeah, and that's the thing. We have the New Day, but they're faces.
They have never not been faces, even when they were heels.
Even when they were heels, they were faces.
Yeah, so for a heel stable to be doing that thing where they're like, no, we're really good. It feels like a 90s thing.
We're not nice people, but it's not that we, cheat or anything. It's just we're really fucking good pro wrestlers.
It feels like a 90s stable because it's, I think, been since then that we have had that stable that didn't involve Triple H.
Or Randy Orton.
I mean, Randy Orton usually does the bully stable, not the we actually are very good stable.
That's true.
So, when Triple H, Evolution was the last one I remember being we are very good stable. But
we're all just really good wrestlers.
At the same time, behind the scenes, Triple H is running stuff, so you're very good at writing who wins.
Yeah.
You're losing me on the gimmick because of the reality I'm aware of.
Man, Paul Levesque. Paul Levesque, real life face turn of the century. That dude is nice.
He rode in Friday Night SmackDown into an arena with a similar entrance ramp to the one they rode in back in 1998, with a truck and a fucking boatload of NXT wrestlers to storm SmackDown.
It's perfect.
That was beautiful.
Actually, bit of outside wrestling drama, and this is one of the reasons I said that just now. One of the top AEW women's stars was on War Games.
Yeah.
She's like Adam Cole's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so when he took the murder engine, they cut to his girlfriend, who happens to be a very, very, top tier talent at a different federation. Because the director just went, "Oh man, that lady looks upset. Cut to her." And Triple H had the opportunity to make drama out of it, to get buy rates, to get eyes, and he didn't. He specifically went out and made a statement that, no, that's not what happened. The director just saw an upset lady and cut to her. I don't want this to cause drama for her and where she's working. There is no behind the scenes thing happening. There's nothing. She was here to support her dude. I don't want this to become a thing. Please don't make it a thing.
Wow, Triple H, classic.
Real life face turn of the century.
Yeah. Well, maybe look at your boss, Corey Graves, and eat an entire bag of shit. Anyway, moving on. Like we said, Adam Cole won. Undisputed Era is still undisputed. We had the Blueberry Championship match, which I'm going to use that name, but it looks a hell of a lot better than the red one.
It wasn't ever that it was red, it's that it was too fucking bright.
It's
a dark blue. That's the difference, and it looks better.
It's a dark, slightly muted blue. It looks really good.
It wasn't that it was red, it's that it was fucking bright red. It was that it looked like strawberry. It looked like a fucking fruit roll-up. Make it dark, make it look like dyed leather, and it looks good. Fucking miracle of miracles!
I liked the build to this match as well. Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. I'm glad they've made some compromises with The Fiend's energy.
I love the Fiend energy they started with, but I am also ultimately glad they compromised on bits of it to make it fit into the WWE.
Yeah, I think that's healthier than trying to force a square peg into a round hole. And they did it while preserving the character.
Yeah, he still feels like The Fiend, but they turned up the lights on his entrance, and they included flash bulbs, and they made it feel more like not a transportation to the fucking horrible Fiend dimension, but that the bad guy monster wrestler, The Fiend, is showing up, so the announcers can do their fucking incessant jabbering, and it doesn't feel really jarring. And it just they changed the way the lights look. They're brighter. It's not as dim. It's just generally they made a few tweaks to make him fit into the WWE better. Now, if it were a different federation, would I have liked them to have kept the original Fiend energy, like not to make those tweaks? Yeah, I like the old version better in a vacuum, but it just didn't fit into the federation that character exists in.
Match-wise, I thought this was really good. It was short, but it told its story. Had some really great camera angles. Daniel Bryan was good. It was so, I get... This is a little personal here with you, listener. When I see mobs of people acting in unison, it freaks me out. It's just weird wiring in my brain. I could go into it deeper, but that's just how I am. Just watching Daniel Bryan command the whole arena to yes chant and then do it was terrifying and beautiful.
It is astonishing that after a year or close to of being a really good heel, of getting a lot of boos and making the audience dislike him, with one motion, with just pointing up his index fingers and then pointing them to the sky, he immediately was the most over face wrestler in history again. He just summoned it with basically no effort on his part.
Yeah.
He just did it, and then he was the most over face wrestler in history again. At his leisure, he could just be Stone Cold Steve Austin times 1,000 again. Whenever he wants. It's ridiculous.
People make comparisons to a lot of other wrestlers as being the in-character Hulk Hogan of our generation. It's Daniel Bryan.
It's Daniel Bryan. There's no fucking... There's not...
Other people might be household names more so, but Daniel Bryan commands.
No, I haven't... You just don't see it anymore. You do not see... Even when, The Rock comes back, or some big-name talent who was super over back in the day, comes back, and, they'll get a big pop, but nobody can just fucking command the audience, you like me again now, with one fucking physical arm motion. Not even words. And they just agree. Yes, okay, we like you now. That doesn't happen. That's not real.
I mean, he's had in storyline
yeah,
a nice gradual face turn.
They built it up.
And the fans wanted him to be the yes Daniel Bryan. They were been like trying to coax it out of him.
And he's been like playing hard to get with it.
Yeah,
And they built it up with the Fiend storyline. That was what the whole build was the Fiend trying to get him to do the yes chant again and all that stuff. They did build it. I'm being hyperbolic. But it's in the match, because I didn't watch that build up. I just watched the video package, and they told me that's what happened. But in the match, the thing I saw was Daniel Bryan having supernatural fucking powers.
To a crowd that was mocking him when he came out.
Yeah, like they literally started the match by chanting, "Let him in." They were mocking heel Daniel Bryan. You know what? You know when the last fucking time I saw this was? It was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. That was the last time I saw a crowd turn that sharply, that fast.
Yeah.
He's Hulk Hogan. I get upset at how over Daniel Bryan was because it poisoned the main event for 3 years after he left. But you can't deny it. It's just the way it is. The match was fucking excellent.
Yeah, it was a great match. 10 minutes, well spent, well paced, good action.
Fiend goes over, right call.
Yeah, don't take that belt off that boy yet.
No, not after a cup of coffee.
Someday.
Yeah,
give him at least Kofi's reign.
WrestleMania, I think, would be the earliest you could get away with taking it off.
Yeah, drop it immediately to The Miz or John Cena.
Stop.
I'm just preparing myself to be disappointed.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair.
Honestly, WWE, you really want to flirt with me? Book it for WrestleMania. The Fiend versus Undertaker, and The Fiend goes over, and Mark goes away like he's been saying he's going to do.
I don't want them to book that because I don't believe him. I don't believe
him either, but like, if that actually happened, like fucking 10 years from now, when he's clearly too old to be in a ring like Ric Flair, and he's gone, and he hasn't wrestled since, I'll sit back in my chair and be like, good.
That's fair. But he's on probation until then.
He's on huge probation. So this brings us to the men's Survivor Series match.
A better match than the women's Survivor Series match, but not because the people in it were more talented, just because it was allowed to be a match.
Yeah, there wasn't as many weird spot exchanges. There was still intra-stable drama, and I liked it. I think it played well here.
The storytelling felt overall just more put together.
Yeah, coherent. I liked that Roman Reigns' role in this match was to be dead on the outside.
Yeah, I like that half the match was just people... A match was happening, and then one of the guys would knock down his opponent briefly, and then take time out of his day specially to go and fuck Roman Reigns specifically. Not being hyperbolic, I think 4 separate times someone went out of their way to go punch Roman Reigns and then go back to what they were doing.
I liked it, though, because near the end there, where he was in the corner... I don't remember if it was Ciampa or Keith Lee that was on the other side. He was looking at him like, all right, this is the guy I got to fight now. He had big final boss energy. Like, I believed that it was like, oh shit, now he's got to fight Roman Reigns. What the fuck is he going to do?
Yeah, because they had utilized Roman Reigns intelligently.
Yeah.
They had utilized the gimmick, the talent that is Roman Reigns smartly. They had kept him largely out of the ring until it was time for him to be John Cena. Until it was time for him to be the big bad final boss that you have to overcome like a mountaintop because he's just so goddamned over. That was smart.
I will say another thing for this match. Walter, or Volter, if you want to pronounce it properly.
Volter.
He was in this match. I have not seen him, except for this match. I thought he was Dominic Dijakovic at first. And was confused why everyone was chanting Goldberg and assumed it had something to do with Matt Riddle until I realized what was going on. They axed him first, I think.
Yeah, he was the first guy out.
It was not glamorous.
No.
I mean, it was fine. It just wasn't like he didn't look like the fucking big ball boss hog all the fans wanted him to look like.
They did not take time. Shorty G, and we'll come back to that.
I don't know that we need to. It's a stupid name and a stupid gimmick at the end.
Okay, that's fair. But he had more spotlight time before he got eliminated than Volta did. And, the crowd turned on this match when Walter got eliminated.
But then they turned back.
Yeah, they won them back.
Chicago turned back.
The fucking Punk chant started. They turned on this match so hard after Walter was eliminated before they had been sated. before they were entertained.
I can only blame WWE.
Yeah,
for
look,
Punk chants.
I like that they had finally stopped, and at this point, if Punk chants happen again, it's on you, Vince. That you bought and paid for this. You brought Philip back. This is what you've earned. But that's how upset they were. Is that the chants started up again, and they turned on this match.
Oh,
when
yeah.
Walter was they turned on the match, and the boys were so good that they won them back.
Yeah, the story of the match was so strong. They had great spots. Showed off Keith Lee fantastically. Keith Lee definitely took home person of the match, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's notable because of all of the people in this match, Walter was the only person who was not showcased very, very well. Everyone else walked away from this match looking really fucking cool.
And still, Walter got offense in. It wasn't like he was bitch.
He wasn't stomped on. It wasn't like he got buried, but he was the only one who wasn't really well showcased. Yeah. So it worked. It looks worse by contrast.
Sure.
Even like Mustafa Ali looked better.
He looked great, dude. I hope they do something big with him, like Intercontinental Championship maybe. Or in 10 years' time, maybe he'll get the WWE Championship.
Don't fucking put that energy out there. That's Kofi Kingston doesn't want his story to be anyone else's story.
I like Mustafa Ali. I'm glad they gave him his first name back.
Same. Stop doing that. Stop. You know what? Honestly, no, I take it back. Keep doing that if the other option is Shorty G.
Braun Strowman was great. Ricochet had some really cool spots. The
good use of your Randy Orton.
Yeah, the little bitterness between Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa was really cool.
It's just generally really good. A few lower spots. Again, a lot of people who don't seem to understand what a fucking elimination match is. Most egregiously, Joe Anoa'i, Roman Reigns. I get it. I get that Baron Corbin is annoying. I understand that Baron Corbin is annoying. And it didn't end up costing you. You ended up winning the match because you're Roman Reigns. I get it. But goddamn, what a stupid fucking thing to do.
Well, I mean, they've been feuding. It makes sense in context.
Oh, yeah. It makes sense for Roman Reigns, the character, to do that objectively stupid thing. Because Roman Reigns, the character, has a fucking ego.
Well, and, if you add that to the idea that Baron Corbin was weakening their team by fucking with the other members of their team.
Roman Reigns would rather go it the rest of the way himself than have this fucking backstabbing dumbass behind him.
Right.
I get the logic, but it's just on top of all of the little tiny moments where, why did you do that? It's an elimination match. Why did you break up that submission? It was the shitty cherry on top of a tiny little flecks of poo all throughout an otherwise good match.
They also did a good one of those though, because he
immediately after, and I got mad about it, and you corrected me correctly, because that was an example of it being done very smartly. And so explain.
I don't remember who all the members were that were involved at the time. It was last night, and there were a lot of people on this card.
It was Roman Reigns again, and he broke up a pinfall. He broke up some match-ending pinfall or submission again after he was the only one, the only one there. But he did it smartly, and you pointed this out after. I didn't notice at the time because I was already butthurt. Was that he broke it up in an intelligent way, because if it had gone through, it was like the last Raw guy.
Yeah, it was Seth Rollins.
It was Seth Rollins was about to get pinned. And not only
by Ciampa.
Yeah, not only was it Seth Rollins, so of course, he has that desire to save his bro. And they had been kind of working together to defeat the NXT boys. So it made sense in that way, and it was smart for him to do, because Seth Rollins is kind of an ally, and if Seth Rollins is eliminated, then he's 2-on-1 versus the NXT guys. So he would be putting himself at a numerical disadvantage really hard, and trading out Seth Rollins, a guy who he had been working kind of with, to fight the two NXT boys. So it was a really smart version of that. I was just already butthurt and didn't notice.
And I think commentary might have said something about it. It was probably anyone but Corey Graves, because all that comes out of his mouth is shit.
He was fine on commentary.
He was fine on commentary. He's just a garbage human being. I just get really tired of people cyberbullying Mauro Ranallo, and it just takes a really small dick to get on the internet and shit talk a motherfucker in between your Buddhist statements about being at peace and friendly to everyone.
Like, well, I was gonna let it go, but like I read what he said. It wasn't that mean.
It wasn't.
Mauro's just a little. He's got very thin skin.
Mauro has very thin skin and depression issues, and Corey Graves loves to talk about how hard he worked to overcome his depression and then act like a tithead. Like, just no respect for Corey Graves, and no respect from Corey Graves. So, fucking no deposit, no return. Who cares?
That's fair.
So I'll shit talk him on the internet, because he'd do the same to me.
Oh, God, yeah.
I do have stuffed animals near me, so, I'm fucking free fodder. Anyway, I loved the end of this match. I love that Seth Rollins got eliminated, because I hate Seth Rollins for similar reasons. And, I love that Keith Lee was the one in the end. I would have put money on Ciampa being the last NXT guy in the ring.
But no, they basked in the glory.
And he was amazing.
He did amazing. Honestly, can I get a fucking Keith Lee Roman Reigns match? That had big fight energy.
They were great together.
They have all of the chemistry that John Cena and The Rock never had.
Yeah, I mean, those guys put on a match, and I love the handshake spot at the end. Keith Lee did a really cool, respect bow.
He did, a very traditional Japanese fucking sumo bow.
Yeah.
And then Roman Reigns dapped him up in return.
Yeah, man, it was just really... I really liked the end of that match. If the rest of that match had been the women's match, and that's how it ended... I would have felt a lot better about that women's match.
I would have been weirded out that Roman Reigns and Keith Lee showed up at the end. But, I mean, we're talking about two different shows. And, of course, the natural conclusion is a versus which one did the better job. In that vein, who do you think did the better job?
We have 2 more matches.
Oh, that's right. That's how I felt after the end of this match. Oh, that's got to be the end. Turns out, nope.
I think, in retrospect, given what we had after that, we probably should have ended on the men's Survivor Series match.
Yeah, it's almost like the pay-per-view Survivor Series. Should have ended with the Survivor Series match. I know that sounds weird. It's crazy, but just maybe think about it. Maybe think about putting the Survivor Series match, either one, maybe not the women's this time, because that would have been sad, but just at the end of the card that says Survivor Series on it. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me.
I can understand it from a booking perspective, because at the end of the day, this match doesn't mean anything, whereas the title matches do. Because we all know the bragging rights are fake. But
so are the titles.
I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough. They're faker than the titles. No one's going to remember who won the men's Survivor Series match 5 years from now, except for us.
5 weeks from now? Are you kidding?
So another storyline that I've been really digging, and I was disappointed with how the match turned out at the end, but only because I don't like Brock Lesnar, was Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar for the actual championship.
And that ended how you would expect. If you just heard that and hadn't seen any of the build like I had, Brock Lesnar's fighting Rey Mysterio, you know how you imagine that match to go? That's pretty much how that match went.
No, it's different because 7 minutes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Ray got offense in sometimes.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar didn't just push him into the ground and then sit gently upon the ground as the referee counted in horror. Fucking callback. Beautiful bit of business from the ref in The Fiend versus Bray Wyatt. Hands Bray Wyatt his title. Bray Wyatt takes it in a way that the referee fucking leaves.
He leapt backward out of the ring to get away from the Fiend.
We make a lot of creator wrestlers in the 2K19. Don't buy 2K20, it's garbage. So we see a lot of the victory animations and the victories of titles. The heel wrestlers snatching belts from the referees. And the referee fine, God. Or maybe throwing a fist at him. They're okay, don't hit me. This guy's left. He's gone. He got cartwheeled away.
He apparated out of the ring in fear of the Fiend. And that was such a good bit of business. Good work.
I liked the build between Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. I liked the attempted hardening of Rey Mysterio. He did his best with his little Michael Jackson voice. He did his best, and I want to give him credit for that.
Yeah, dude can't control how long his vocal cords are.
No, he can't, and I'm not going to criticize him for that. I liked it. I thought it was good. I liked the energy. He delivered an amazing promo in his second language.
Yeah, right? That's one more language than I can speak, and I mean, I have a shitty voice too, so who am I to complain?
I liked Dominic's interference. I thought that was really cool. I like Rey's current look. He looks way more lucha than he ever has now that he's older.
it just gives him a sense of masculine legitimacy that he struggled to achieve with his ridiculous baby face.
Yeah. I just I have at this point nothing but respect for Rey Mysterio. Any ounce of anything else gone. Just respect.
Yeah, he's a statesman.
Yeah.
Dude knows what he's about.
My dream booking for this. I know I don't usually do that, but I would have loved to have seen fucking Friendo Dependo. What the hell's his name?
Velasquez?
Yeah, Cain Velasquez also have come out, and the three of them beat Brock Lesnar. And
then actually beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and actually pin and beat Brock Lesnar. And then that involves...
That keeps Lesnar versus Vasquez happening, whilst at the same time getting the title off fucking Brock Lesnar.
I love The Fiend, but both of our top titles are on people who don't do weekly TV things.
But for me, if they had actually ended the match where Ray and Dominic had both beat up Brock Lesnar with weapons, both of them had, and then they did a double frog splash on him, and then they both laid on top of him so that they're both the champion, I'd have dug the shit out of that.
I love that too. Yeah,
But ultimately, it ended like a brick laser match.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that because at least the story was built really well. It wasn't the same fucking thing we've seen from Brock Lesnar every time, which is, hi, I'm Brock Lesnar. No, you don't understand, I'm Brock Lesnar. Okay, do your best, I'm Brock Lesnar. And then one of the two responses is, ow, you punched me 57 times in the balls. I will die. Or, I will suplex you once and your skeleton is on the outside now. Which part do I pin? He got beat with the steel rod, and he was like, ow, stop, don't do that. I love the look on his face when he left at the end. The holy shit, did Rey Mysterio just kind of kick my ass a little bit? And even
as
Paul
he's
Heyman
just holding his fucking marbles.
Paul Heyman is like, that was too close. That was way too close. It was beautiful. It was great. And, I don't know. I just really like this build, so I'm okay with the Brock Lesnar victory here. I wouldn't mind if this went on another month and maybe we got that actual result. Because, they're going to do the Velasquez thing. That's what
they're
one
fucking going to do that,
He's just still injured is all. So, I don't know. I have high hopes, so I expect them to be dashed. Because this is, at the end of the day, the WWE. Speaking of which, the Women's Triple Threat main event. Which was overall a pretty good match.
Yeah, nothing super special, but really fun.
Stop putting women's triple threats as your main event. You want to do a women's match as a main event? Make it 1-on-1.
I have nothing to say to that because you're right.
This should have been great, and it was only good.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. All competitors did really well.
Shayna Baszler, great. Becky Lynch, fucking great. Bayley, I love the new heel Bayley. Great haircut, new music's cool. Everything about that, excellent job.
I like that her heelness lets her put an energy into her moves that she was previously limiting to remain face. I never suspected that, but now that I'm seeing it in hindsight, I can go, oh.
She was wrestling like a face.
It's like she was holding back, and now she's not anymore, and you're doomed.
I like that she can still do the Bayley face, where she looks like she's fucking terrified.
But now she uses it to beg off. It's
good. That's good heel work. And also, she has very sad eyes.
Yeah. Which are only highlighted now by the cat eye.
The intentional sad eye makeup, yeah.
This was a really good match, don't get me wrong. Wrestling-wise, very good. It just, I don't know. The show didn't end, and I wasn't like, fuck yeah. I was surprised they gave NXT the victory of the overall count.
And not a close one.
No.
It was kind of a blowout.
Yeah. I honestly thought that Becky was going to win this one. First of all, to make Raw look a little better.
Yeah, to tie it up 2-2-3.
Yeah. Secondly, it's Becky Lynch, which at this point, I'm ready for Becky Lynch to not be Becky Lynch anymore. I'm okay with it. It doesn't have to happen. I'm not like...
Look, a knife!
I don't hate her or anything. I'm just like, okay, if you're done with her, WWE and the WWE Universe, that's fine. We've had a good Becky Lynch.
You're tired of her being the guy?
Oh, no, I'm not even tired yet. I'm accepted.
If she was stopped being the guy tomorrow, you would be acceptable.
Yeah. Good job, Becky and people promoting Becky. We've done a fine thing. I think
will put my knife away.
Thank you.
For now.
I think she's got plenty of energy left in the tank. She had a great match here.
This was a fine match.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like the knuckle dusting there between Keith Lee and Roman Reigns was just such a
That's the
big
end.
moment.
That's the end of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it felt good.
It was like it was the return of the king of WWE pay-per-views.
Yeah, man, it was really nice.
They found the natural, really good, really well-made ending, and then they stuck an extra 20 minutes of movie onto the end.
Overall, it was a good pay-per-view. It was as good as I expected it to be, and had I not watched War Games the night previous, I probably would have marked a lot harder for a lot more shit.
War Games was a lot better.
War Games was just, and it was only an hour and a half.
It was,
I don't feel like any of these matches were a waste, by the way. I think the only match that we had a negative opinion on was the Women's Survivor Series, and that was only because they did it poorly.
All these matches were great. Were fine to be there. The worst it ever got was mediocre.
Yeah.
And it just, compared to War Games, it was not close.
No. I love War Games. I will be there for next War. I think I missed War Games last year. That makes me sad.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did. But probably won't miss it again.
No, it's very good.
You know what makes it better?
No, I'm not doing that. It's really hacky.
All right, I'm sorry.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it.